So with that, I would like to pass it on to Mark, who's going to be speaking about how Q-SYS and Google creates value to you, to your customers, and generally speaking on the market. So with that,
Great.
Mark, you lead the way.
Excellent. Thank you, Imre. And it's really good to be here today to talk about the solutions that we work together. And a few of you may be surprised to know that actually Q-SYS and Google have a very long-standing relationship between each other within Google itself. And you can see here, we have the expertise built off what are called the Google Tech Talks. And over the last decade, we've deployed about 400 rooms together that run for solutions in high-impact spaces. This is actually a picture of a room that Imi and I were actually in London. And what you can see there is that it's running the Google Meet hardware that you would see on the stand that we have here at the show today. And what I would say is that I've actually been in the Google team that launched the original video conferencing product in 2014. And what was very interesting was when we started, it was very much, these were the rooms that were a challenge. And we tried running them on legacy solutions. And over the last few years, we've consolidated them to basically have a vision with Q-SYS that if you are in a lecture theatre or an auditorium, you can run the same Google Meet hardware that you run when you're in a 2-person, a 4-person, or a 10-person meeting room. And this is a really important thing because those big, high-impact spaces is where people have the most worry about presenting, the most stress. And there shouldn't be any difference in what you need to present. All of these rooms within Google that Q-SYS have, we deploy them on the basis that they actually are only actually reviewed and checked once a year. This is another example. We have the lecture theatres in Berlin and other places where we use Google Meet in different capacities to run. So we've also have the experience of building out in different locations and space. The biggest room within Google today, running Google Meet hardware, actually accommodates 1,800 people. And again, that's the desire to reduce the amount of knowledge that's needed to run this, to keep it very, very simple. And again, running and using things like Google Calendar and the Google Workspace to book the rooms as well. Again, you can see the challenges we've overcome. We worked with Q-SYS and partners in Berlin. This is a room where we had to deploy it at a high impact space. It runs Google Meet hardware. Nothing could touch the walls. And we have that knowledge. We work with a community of partners who take that out, but mostly with Q-SYS to talk about that expertise. So again, if you are thinking about a high impact space, we have the knowledge from buildings that we've built from the ground up, right through to buildings that are listed or of architectural significance as well. So for example, we have the plans and schematics. This is 2 rooms in the Berlin office that were designed and built out with the floor space and the plan. And again, they will all run the same architecture for the calls. There's nothing different. And we think that's the really important thing. You want these rooms to be focused on the content that's being presented, so people are actually not stressed about how they would present in the large room environments. Now, the Q-SYS control, I will pass this one to you, Imre, to talk a little bit more about.
Oh, thanks, Mark. Yeah, this is just obviously things at the back end can be pretty complicated, but our approach is always about simplicity. So from a user experience perspective, you walk into an auditorium like this, and the approach is as simple as like on the Google Meet interface, you're just going to press the second page button, and you're going to have a fully customizable second page, and you can pretty much control anything from heating to blinds, air conditioning, of course, and multiple cameras, audio, muting. So it's a user-friendly interface, and again, it's all about simplicity.
Great, thanks. And I'll just get through. Oh.
And there were some different scenarios in terms of.
Do you want me to go back? Sorry.
No, that's all right. Yeah, that was
Sorry.
Great.
Okay. Now, within Google, we have a number of teams that are working within our offices. Google actually has the world's largest deployment of video conferencing. We have about 34,000 rooms currently working. So a lot of knowledge goes within the solution. So there's other groups within Google, the Spaces community, about how we build out. And this knowledge transfers back in. The learnings that we have from building very large rooms are that they need to be easy to operate. And I think the thing here to point out is also talking about flexibility of spaces, that you can adjust them from a classroom style to a boardroom style for presentations. And with Q-SYS, we can manage that. Sustainability is also important. We want to, within the buildings, use more sustainable materials, move away from concrete. And we also have a number of user plexes. One is in Zurich, I think there's another in London, that we actually do more research on with this. And I think one of the things that has been really exciting working with Q-SYS over the last year is being able to take some of this knowledge out and apply it with customers who have similar issues or are looking at new build offices to work on as well. The other thing to say is, why does the Google Meet hardware matter? Well, the first thing is what I said earlier. You are deploying a room solution here where you want it to be consistent. It shouldn't be any different than being in a smaller room. So for us, it's for Google, the vision with the hardware, whether it's an Avacor 27 or a Lenovo Series 1, it's about being consistent across form factors and with the bandwidth usage as well. And also, if you are here today and you use Google Workspace, this is a way that you can actually save money because you can consolidate onto Google Meet and use it. But the hardware drives ubiquity. If you are on Google Workspace and you have the hardware, it will mean that people will use that across the business rather than having other solutions that being taken within it. Again, with these large rooms as well, we have other features such as the ability to live stream out of the room, Q&A, and polling that can improve the experience as well. Also, within the Google Workspace administration tools, we have a number of management insight tools that are available to see how rooms are being used, how they're being utilized as well. So I think this is very important. As you talk about, do you have enough meeting room space in the business? You need to see what the data is and the occupancy data that you have within it, not the need for complex APIs and different integrations within that. So there's a range of features here. And we have a number of partners here today already who are specialists within Google Workspace, who understand how that workspace tool works. But most importantly, you can delegate this to an organizational unit that specializes in the room and can look after it as well. Google Meet works on devices and it travels with you. We have this vision within Google Cloud that all of the applications travel in the cloud. It's no different with Google Meet as well. So if you have the Q-SYS room at one end and the auditorium, other people can join through phones, laptops, and other meeting room hardware as well. And like I said, it's about high impact spaces. And I think I'll pass it across to Imre now to just talk a little bit about some of the ones that we've seen together over the last year.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I think, yeah, the variety of spaces here are pretty much limitless. So, I mean, we just wanted to give you a bit of an idea, like whether you, your business or your customer maybe have a room which can be, divided by 2 or 3. And obviously, it's really important that you wouldn't need to have an IT person or anyone technical there to make that happen. Maybe just a few single push of a button and the audio going to merge or demerge, including the video and of course the control. But other sort of spaces, of course, tech talk rooms, obviously, as Mark mentioned, about 400 tech talk rooms and Google. And boardroom is another interesting thing where you might have a ceiling mic solution with multi-camera support. So pretty much in terms of spaces, there is no limitation because every business is different and every sort of challenge and outcome might be different as well. But this is where we come in with Google, because the level of flexibility you can achieve is pretty much limitless.
Right. So I'll probably cover this one as well, just to talk a little bit about it. Obviously, from the Q-SYS side, working with Google, there's the processing and other things are looked after there. We also have multi-camera functionality within the Google Meet hardware as well. So if you want to run the cameras, you have multiple options there, and the room control. So really, to add to this and sort of like to be very brief, we are creating an intelligent environment, most importantly, where you can get that data both on the Google side and the Q-SYS side around what is happening as well. So, as I said, it's about really looking at this from a point of view of the connectivity and the network distribution. But what I would say is, you've got a lot of range here in what you can do with customization around the camera usage and the portfolio of speakers that you would choose to. And Google defers to Q-SYS in this in terms of the knowledge of what's best, but also the entirety of the Q-SYS platform is certified. So there's a confidence here that we are working together in what is an approved peripheral, what the interoperability will be, And we're sort of like looking at more things to come in the future as well. Now, in terms of next steps, take the Q-SYS tour, as some people here are now, and do that, and learn more about the Google Tech Talk rooms, and also some of the Google partners who've already deployed rooms are around today. We can introduce you to them. The other thing to say is the Google stand is at 2P125, which is that way. Drop by if you want to learn more about the base part of that. And also, on March the 7th and 9th, we'll be running sessions in Copenhagen and Stockholm to talk about the developments that we're making. We're also adding a special session with Q-SYS in Copenhagen for deeper training for partners. Or just drop me a line if you've got any other questions as well. So I think that's the last slide, isn't it?
I think so too. Yeah, that was
that's
pretty great.
Cool.